Hey everyone, it is Have I here bringing you a video on the John Wick franchise, and we're going to be talking about the ins and outs of this incredible universe. So I would recommend, if you have not seen John Wick chapter 1, 2, or 3, you would not watch this video or continue on, so spoiler heavy ahead. Now if you've seen this movie, we will be talking about the hierarchy and explaining the inner workings of this incredible universe, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. And if you are new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Once again, spoiler heavy video. If you've not seen chapter 1, 2, or 3, I would recommend you don't continue on. So with that, let's go ahead and get started, and let's just really first start with the bottom of the barrel, which is the assassins of this movie. John Wick, the main character. However, when it comes to the hierarchy, Mr. Baba Yaga himself, it's actually, he's lower in the totem pole. Now this is very interesting. This is what makes this movie series or this movie franchise good, because it's kind of like an underdog story trying to figure out how to defeat the system in itself. So this slide here might be very confusing to you, because this is kind of like the hierarchy, and I'm going to explain each individual icon and help you really dissect and figure out, okay, which one goes here, what's this here, what's that there. And I'll do my best as all the information that we have so far is from 3 movies, and if you've seen chapter 3, it's going to be continuing on chapter 4, 5, 6. Who knows how many of these they're going to make. So let's start from the top, actually work all the way down to the bottom here. We'll start with the elder. Now the elder is the one who sits above the table, and they're talking about the high table. That's the reference there. And this individual is just very mysterious. We don't know too much about this individual. He is introduced in Parabellum chapter 3. John Wick had to walk across the desert, and they said if the elder is looking for you, he'll find you. So they end up actually having this discussion, and the elder had the power to remove the excommunicado status on John Wick. So his power is very, very kind of omnipotent at this point in time. So but we don't know too much, but we did find out what the motto is, either with the whole crime syndicate or just with the assassins, that is, I have served and I will be of service. Very interesting, and we'll probably hear that from here on out. So this is the elder, the one who sits above the table. We won't really talk about the elder because we don't know too much about him, but it is good to know that he is the top of the heap. Now what organization or what the chain of command really starts with really is the high table. Now the high table consists of 12 seats to rule them all. We still don't know who sits on all 12 seats. We have had some indication. We have a big crime family in the D'Antonio family. That was chapter 2, where we found out so much information about the high table, or at least enough to understand that they are like the CEOs of the crime syndicate. If the high table is the CEO, in a sense, the elder might be the founder or just someone, the chairman outside of the organization in itself. So the high table is the judge, jury, executioner of everything, runs everything, but we just don't know who sits on all 12. So now being the high table, it's seemingly there's a bunch of little subcategories with the high table. Now those starts off with first as the adjudicators, and then also the emissaries. Now I just called this the judge, and we found this information out in chapter 3, where the adjudicators are very similar to like lawyers. They come in, or compliance officers, they come in and say, hey, this is what you did, you got to pay for it this way. We can take away your status, we can demote you, we can fire you. So the adjudicators are very powerful in a sense, because they have this coin. They show the coin, says, hey, we are from the high table, we have the authority. And yeah, speaking of being the judge, jury, and executioner, the adjudicators are the ones who actually go to the individuals and tell them, hey, you're fired, or you got to pay for your crimes. Now the emissaries, we find out later, are kind of the enforcers physically. So if someone is unwilling to do what they're supposed to do, the emissaries come in and either kill them or remove them. We've seen it and heard of this multiple times. Your life is now forfeit. That's what the emissaries are there to do. The adjudicators say, hey, your life is forfeit. The emissaries come in and clean it up. So That's where I just call the judge is the group of individuals right, I would say right below the high table. Now the next grouping here, I would say the mint. So the mint is where the currency is being created. Now this was shown in the Morocco world, so Casablanca in chapter 3. I just put here Master of Coin. Now if you guys are Game of Thrones fans, you would get it because of the actor that plays the individual who runs the mint, and I won't spoil it for anybody who has not really seen Game of Thrones, but it's a very funny parallel there. So the mint here, we know that the individual who runs, or you can call it the coin master or the coin creator, he is above the management level, which is the people that handle the Continental. Because when John Wick visited Sophia, she was in management, and he said, I want to talk to your boss, and this is the boss of that. So it is a level above your traditional management, and I would say just right below the high table. Now a lot of people might think that this individual here is on the high table, the master of coin, the coin master, but I really don't think so. I think they're just a part of the second level management, like the executives, you know, right before the CEOs kind of scenario. So that's really what the mint is designed to do. Then you have I call the theater. Now the theater, the individual here that's played by Angelica Houston, she is called the director, and this seemingly is the school that trains children to be assassins and various different things. And we find out John Wick's actual real name, Jovanovic. So like Jovanovic is kind of like John Wick, like John Wick. I guess that's probably why his name is like that. But I just called this the theater because that's kind of what the setting is in there. And a lot of people say that she is a part of the high table. I kind of don't think so, because once again, the high table and the adjudicator came into her and provided her saying, hey, you should not have helped John Wick, you must pay for your crime. Boom, they kind of stabbed her through her hands. And I don't think a member of the high table would have been necessarily been treated like that as a part of the 12-member seat. I think we've only seen one person that was a part of the seat, and that was the D'Antonio family. So I think it's still part of a family seat, not necessarily these individuals on here. Now, I might be wrong here. You might know a little bit more. You can comment below on this area here, but I think the theater, the mint, and the judges or the jury, those are just the level right below the high table. Now, what really the movie is revolved around is the Continental. The Continental is the safe haven, this place where assassins and other individuals can come in and kind of come and go as they please. It's that place that you can't do business on. It is, like I said, a safe haven, and we've only seen 3 of these Continentals. One is in New York, of course. The other is Rome, and then Morocco. So New York primarily was in chapter 1 and in chapter 3 as well. Actually, all 3 of them. Rome was in chapter 2, and then Morocco in chapter 3. So this is management, and this is I guess your front line managers is the individuals that handle the Continental. Now, I will go into deeper what the Continental actually has, which is services at the Continental, and then the services have inner workings within the hotel in and itself. So I'll discuss that a little bit later, and after I continue to go into this hierarchy. So this is the Continental, and this is management level here. So after the management level, it's either the next 3 or 4 slides here, it's either going to be right below it or pretty much even to the management level. I think it's right below it just a little bit. And the first is the pawn shops and the public library. So these 2 here we find out are just places for the assassins or workers. It's kind of like their safe deposit box, right? They put their coins in, they make sure that anytime they need something, they can come and get the currency, get their markers, things of that nature. So this here is very interesting, and once again, people can come and go as they please. It's public, so assassins can really go in and out of this inner workings here. But we didn't see like a librarian or character or things of that nature, but I think probably somebody is like quote unquote the librarian and the person who's in charge of the public library and even the pawnbrokers. So that's kind of like the personal banks for the assassins. The next thing here is the administration office. We've seen this multiple times in all 3 of the movies, and there is quote unquote an administrator, but I don't know if that person is part of the high table or not. But this is just the call center. This is the call center for the Continental, for the high table, to keep all the records. And this is record keeping, saying, hey, this person is excommunicado. They deconsecrated the New York Continental, and they're able to do that. So that's very interesting, where then you can do work on the grounds of the Continental. So it's very, very interesting how all this thing works out through the administration office. So I don't think the administration office has much authority. That's why I think it's right under the Continental. Now another grouping here is the soup kitchen, which is where the Bowery King stands here. Now this was interesting when the adjudicator in chapter 3 came in and talked to the Bowery King and said, hey, you know what, you got to give up your seat, you got to give up your title because you helped John Wick out. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Are you kidding me? Because, you know, I'm not really a part of this world. I'm all seeing, I'm all knowing, and you know, the high table has no power over me, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know if that's true. Once again, we don't have too much information about how the inner workings of the homeless and all the pigeons that the Bowery King uses. So, but at the end of chapter 3, of course, you know, they're going to go to war with the high table. So I think the Bowery King and the soup kitchen kind of stands a little bit apart. It is managed a little bit with the high table, I would think, but it's more tolerated than anything else. And I think maybe the soup kitchen has gotten more powerful than it is. Maybe it's a discussion piece of saying, hey, the homeless people are now going to rise up. Poverty is rising up above to take over the CEOs of the high table. And I don't know if that's a political statement there. So anyway, that's going really deep. So now you kind of understand a little bit more of what this hierarchy looks like, right? The elders on top. High table is really where all the power kind of trickles down from there. Then you get the mint, the theater, and the judge. The Continental is right in the middle of things. Then you have the public library and the pawn shops, the administration, soup kitchen, the crime syndicates, and the assassins. Now, I mentioned before, I'm going to go into the Continental a little bit more. Now, the Continental has its services. You've heard it multiple times through 1, 2, and 3 is, you know, I would like some services through the Continental. What the services? Well, you have, of course, the concierge. The concierge can you know, provide you whatever you would like and can direct you to the doctor that's in house, the sommelier, which is the armory, right? If you want guns, the sommelier has that. We find out in chapter 3, the concierge, you know, knows probably a lot, probably everything, right? He's probably been in every single job, and that's why he's now the concierge and knows everything. So he's kind of a sommelier as well. So then you have a tailor to do your suits and body armor, which is really cool. That was in chapter 2. Very interesting to find out how they end up having, you know, kind of bulletproof and, you know, being able to get shot multiple times and still live because of their clothing. Then you have the architect or the map maker. That individual, you know, was able to give John Wick the maps of the catacombs and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why. That was kind of a plot hole where, you know, like, why do you need to know this information? Well, I'm gonna go kill someone at the high table, right? So that's kind of odd and strange that the architect will allow someone to do that. So anyway, then you have a bartender, and then you have the cleaners. The cleaners was really in chapter 1, where you have Charlie, the individual who comes in, takes care of all the bodies, and he gets paid for that. And then of course you have transportation. What's a good hotel without great transportation, which is in New York via taxi? Now, like I mentioned before, you have 3 Continentals we've seen. We've seen the New York, we've seen the Rome, and then we've also seen the Morocco. And you would assume that each of the hotels have in-houses, doctors, sommeliers, tailors, architects, bartenders, etc., etc. So what we've seen so far is in the New York, we've seen the concierge, we've seen the cleaners, bartender, things of that nature, and the doctor. And within Rome, we saw the sommelier, the tailor, and the architect. And then in Morocco, we really didn't see too much. I think we saw the concierge was the individual who came and picked up John Wick. I think whatever at the location when he arrived. So that's the Continental services, and I think the services are previously assassins. That's what it seems like. Or these individuals were assassins that are now working in a different level. Like maybe they got hurt and they can't do the work anymore, but they're still within the system, and they become a bartender, cleaner, architect, etc., etc. So once again, very, very interesting and pretty amazing universe. So once again, this is, I would think, the hierarchy. You have the elder that tops everything else, the high table, mint, theater, and judge. Those are your top tier management and higher level CEO levels, executives up there, right? And then you have your Continental with your services, and then you have the public library administrator, super kitchen, which is all part of this crime syndicate, and the assassins are just the foot soldiers. And once again, that is why these movies are great, because it's just this little worker trying to to wreck the system. So, and it's little Baba Yaga trying to make this happen. The best of the best of all the assassins. His reputation precedes himself, and yeah, it's actually very, very good. So hopefully this video here provided you some explanation of the hierarchy of John Wick in the entire universe. If it's been helpful, feel free to comment below, and if you like what you see, like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.